welcome to a Fortnight on the Isle, my bi-weekly update series where this fortnight has absolutely melted away for me because of, well, just everything going on. I feel like I came around to this weekend, realized that I needed to do another one of these videos, and yeah, I just feel completely overwhelmed by everything, and there's actually not that much to talk about this time. I guess I might as well not waste very much more time at the beginning of this because, well, this weekend is basically my last respite until the end of May, basically. So wish me some luck on there. This fortnight I've been plowing through on a very particular reading project, moving into the reading, because I have other work that I need to do over the rest of the month and especially into next month that is going to take the vast majority of my time. So let's just go ahead and talk about the actual reading itself. First thing is that I believe I mentioned last time that I had started doing an impromptu reread of Empire of Silence by Christopher Ruocchio ahead of some things that I'm going to be doing to work on these future special editions in the series. And I finished the Delos arc of this not too long after I finished the last one of these videos, and I haven't read much further in the book since then. And actually, I haven't read further than the Delos arc at all yet. So that's going to be something that I'm focusing a little bit more on in the very near future. Just wanted to say that I got through that, and yeah, just good as always because I really like Sun Eater, and Empire of Silence is no exception to that, even if I think it's the weakest book overall. I'll be getting back around to that here at some point. The main thing that I've been doing for a reading project, actually I should probably mention first, the other thing that I did over the last couple weeks was I started, this was also kind of impromptu, but it's been like a long time coming, was starting my reread, technically my re-listen of The Wandering Inn Volume 1, but this time with the rewrite of it, because the audiobook for that got replaced with the audio for the rewrite. I'd been waiting to continue on to Volume 2 until the rewrite happened because it had been long enough to justify that wait. So I did start that, only got through the first 6 chapters, so only a few % of the way through. You know, not very far, just through the beginning chapters, the exposition stuff, Erin all by herself before all of the side characters start really getting introduced. In fact, I stopped right as the first couple of side characters are to be introduced, which is where things really start to get good, in my opinion. I did start that reread, but this is more like a, you know, do it whenever I have time, or like when I'm getting ready for work or something like that. For most every day of the next couple of months, that's going to be what that kind of exists as, just reading a chapter, you know, ahead of work each day. And that's basically all that's going to be done with that. No real plans to like plow through that or anything, but I did start that and I'm enjoying it in the same way, but glad to be getting to the point where side characters are introduced. Otherwise, I should say now that this is actually the reading project that I've spent the vast majority of my time working on, and that is The Path of Daggers by Robert Jordan, the 8th book in the series, and I've been reading this very quickly. So anybody who's been following my Wheel of Time journey to any degree knows that I spend a long time with these books. I basically take the entirety of a month, and in a couple of cases 2 months, reading a book so that I can do weekly reading diaries for them. And in fact, this video is coming out pretty shortly after the first diary for The Path of Daggers came out. But this time around, I'm doing things a little bit different. I'm actually reading this very quick, but because I had a lot of other video stuff done ahead of time, and the 4 diaries that I expected to do for The Path of Daggers were so already planned out, I'm still going to be doing all of those, but I'm doing a lot of reading and those videos ahead of time instead of week by week. I've already read enough. I've already completed the first 2 diaries. Obviously, the first one came out. The next one I had done before the first one even came out. I'm about to record the 3rd one right after I'm done recording this Fortnight on the Isle video, and this book, I'm already a few chapters into what will be the 4th diary, so I'm reading this thing a lot quicker than I tend to with Wheel of Time. I've actually surprisingly been enjoying this. I think overall, to put it the simplest I can for the purposes of today's video, The Path of Daggers reminds me in really odd ways of my 2 favorite Wheel of Time books in the series. Reminds me of Fires of Heaven in the sense of certain ways that certain structural decisions were handled. That sounds like it would be kind of a dig at Fires of Heaven, but it's not. And it also reminds me of The Dragon Reborn because of how quickly I'm reading this, where Dragon Reborn was the only other book in the series that I read as quickly as I did. I guess New Spring kind of counts, but it's a little bit of a different situation with that. And as for the actual content of the book so far, having read, oh, I don't know, at this point, probably like 85% of the book, maybe even a little bit more than that. I don't know off the top of my head, but having read most of the book, the actual content that's in here, I largely enjoy. I think it is, by all means, the weakest book in the series so far, like from a somewhat more objective standpoint, but from a sheer enjoyment factor, I'm liking it more than I think I should, and then I think I have a right to. So really, this is the book where it comes to the series, like I should probably have two different rankings for the series. The one in like, this is the order I think the books are in best to worst, and this is like favorite to least favorite, because those would be mostly similar, but like this would be the one with the most variance on that scale between the two different lists. But I'm definitely going to be finishing that this weekend. In fact, by the time this video comes out, I'll be like, just maybe just a couple dozen pages away from finishing The Path of Daggers. So that is where I'm at now, and I'll update at the end of the book in the next fortnight on the Isle. The other reading stuff that I've been doing the last few weeks and that I've kind of pushed off talking about the last couple Fortnight videos are a few short stories, namely The Pilgrim Road by Christopher Rocchio, which is an Adamant Cycle story. I did the copy edit for that, so I read that ahead of it being released exclusively on his Patreon just a few days back at this point. Pilgrim Road is maybe my least favorite of the three Adamant stories out so far, I think. But I still enjoyed it because I really like Adamant. I really liked a couple of things that the story was doing, but I did read that. I also reread over the last couple weeks The Barrow King, the first Adamant story, so that I could do some other stuff for that I'm doing with Christopher. And I'm very soon going to be starting my reread for The Shrine of Lost Stars, the second story for Adamant. So the three Adamant stories were my kind of short story reads/rereads over the last couple weeks. Although, like I said, The Shrine of Lost Stars I haven't started yet, but I will be starting that at the time of this video's release, like tomorrow in earnest. So I'll be working on some of that through the rest of the month. Hopefully I'll be done with that story by the time I come around to Fortnight on the Isle again, but we will see what happens. As for the coming releases, thank goodness basically everything coming out over the next couple of weeks has already been done. On my main channel, I'll have 5 videos coming out basically just like normal. This Tuesday on the 15th will be my review for Mickey 7 by Edward Ashton. So it's coming out a little bit later than I would have liked for a timeliness reason, but got it basically in as soon on the schedule as I could manage based with all of the planning ahead that I had to do for the book binge. Next week on the 20th, on Sunday, will be my review for The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson, which, kind of like Rebecca, which I reviewed pretty recently, was a book that I read a good while ago. I'm pretty sure it's like 2.5 years at this point, but never did a proper like individual review for the book, so I'm getting around to doing that. That will be out next Sunday. Next Tuesday on the 22nd will be my review of Night of the Mannequins by Stephen Graham Jones, which instead of 2.5 years since I read that, it's been about 1.5 years since I read that, but is basically the same story where I covered it in a conglomerate video discussing like 4 Stephen Graham Jones stories that I had read, books, novellas, however you want to define them, because a couple of them were really short, but this is the first one that I'm reviewing individually on its own, not counting The Only Good Indians, which I reviewed, a 1.5 years ago. So Night of the Mannequins review will be out next Tuesday, and then talking about Wheel of Time Diaries, the next couple Thursdays on the 17th and the 24th will be the second and third episodes of the Wheel of Time Diaries covering Path of Daggers, meaning episodes 44 and 45 of the series. 44 is already done, already scheduled. 45 I'll be recording after this video. So that's what I've got coming out on the main channel. On the second channel, I think is when I'm going to be starting. I'm at this point starting to do the bi-weekly thing for Music Mania. So Fortnight on the Isle will be a bi-weekly thing on the main channel, even through the next couple months, as far as I'm able to get those done. And then on the weeks opposite Fortnight on the Isle, I'll try to do Music Mania on the second channel. So This week, we're not going to have one of those episodes, but next Monday on the 21st, I ought to have episode 15 of that out, which I'll probably talk about the new Within Destruction album, the new Ice Nine Kills album, and then whatever stuff might come out next week will probably be included in that video. Over the next couple of Saturdays on the 19th and the 26th, I think I might have chosen the wrong dates. Yeah, 19th and 26th are correct. Will be episode 7 and 8 of the Remnant 2 Let's Play that I did with Josh a long time ago. Also videos that I recorded like, I don't know, late 2023 or something like that. So yeah, it's been a little while, but those videos are finally coming out. Those will just be a couple more episodes on Yeisha. The Yeisha was probably the longest time we spent on any world in our Let's Play of that game. So that's what's going on there. As for the bi-weekly writing, so stuff that I've been working on, it's not very much. Like, there's going to be zeros in basically all of the categories. Anything fiction related, didn't do any writing. And even in the reviews and blog stuff, I did very, very little. In fact, I didn't get any book reviews written because I haven't finished any books to write reviews for over this fortnight. Pretty close on Path of Daggers. By the time this video comes out, I'll very nearly be in the position to write a review for that, but that's it. Game review stuff, haven't worked on any of that stuff. I've been too busy with other things, and it's going to be the case for the next couple months. And I didn't write any film review stuff because I haven't watched anything in the last couple weeks. But that would be a lie. That's something that we'll talk about in just a little bit. And even as far as music review related stuff like Music Mania, doing little short reviews whenever I do those videos on Mondays, I only reviewed 9 albums or EPs over the last couple weeks and didn't even get up to 2,000 words, only about 1,750 words in that. So basically no words written. That might be the lowest amount of words that I've written in any capacity for a couple years at this point, between review stuff, like at least since the beginning of 2024. In any given fortnight, that's pretty close to the smallest amount of words I've written in any 2-week period, if not the smallest. So that kind of puts things into perspective there. Not really much that I ended up working on this fortnight. Up next is Entertainment Talk, which, again, not that much to talk about, but a little bit. As far as gaming goes, I mentioned in the last Fortnite on the Isle that I started doing a little bit more stuff in Power Wash Simulator again, just to get up to 100% again, do all the stuff that I hadn't done for the past year and a half since the game's still been being updated. And since the announcement of Power Wash Simulator 2, I was playing more of that game while March Madness stuff was going on. So I added maybe another 15 to 20 or so hours over the last couple weeks, but that's all the gaming stuff that I did, just working on finishing up the DLC for that game, and that's otherwise all that I've been doing. And then film-related stuff, again, this isn't properly film, but I did watch the rest of the March Madness games that happened over the last couple weeks. None of the Elite 8 games, or really any of the Final 4 games, went the way that I was hoping that they would personally, so they didn't really go very well. I'm glad Florida beat Houston in the actual championship, but yeah, those last couple rounds of of the tournament did not go my way, we shall say. And otherwise, I did actually, this was kind of on a whim because I wasn't actually the one that paid for it. I hadn't planned for it. It was Lane, my other buddy. He decided that he wanted to watch a Minecraft movie just for the fits and giggles, and because he's actually kind of a Minecraft guy, like he's spent a lot of time in it, whereas I personally have not really. But he was like, we should go watch it. And I'm like, okay, yeah, if I'm not the one paying for it. So he decided to do that, and thus I was obligated to go with him. And yeah, all of the people who are telling you that it is an awful movie, but it's like also a fun theater experience type of movie, I will agree with that. I actually did not hate a Minecraft movie. I think it's a bad movie objectively. Like, there's not a whole lot to it that's really good. I mean, the effects are surprisingly good overall, but like, it's one of those movies that's like going to be a cult classic type of thing, even though it's way bigger, made way more money than you would expect that it would for it to have a cult classic status. But when you realize that it was, I believe, written and directed, at the very least it was directed by the same guy that did Napoleon Dynamite, it has that kind of so bad it's good movie energy, and that's basically what it was to me. Not a good movie objectively, but like, it was really fun. I liked it, and as a theater experience, it was good. And I'm glad that I didn't go to a theater where people were getting really out of pocket and causing actual problems, because that's apparently a trend now. Don't do that, by the way. But my theater experience was good, and I think it was a good movie to watch in a theater. I'm never going to watch this movie again, especially not in a theater, but I enjoyed it. So that's what I'll say about that. But otherwise, that is all that I have to say for this Fortnight on the Isle. I'm going to get this and then the next video done here in very short order as far as I can, and then I'm going to be, spending very little time over the next month and a half working on anything video related aside from just one random video here or there as I need to, because I'm just going to be too busy. So I'm got to get these videos done, and then I'm going to enjoy the last little bit of my weekend that I have, and that will be that. So thank you for watching this video. If you did, I appreciate it. For now, I've been your host, King Crusoe. You can call me KC. I'm just realizing that I don't think I even said that at the beginning of the video like I normally do, because I'm kind of all out of sorts this weekend. But nevertheless, I hope to see you guys in the next video.